So allow me to say a few words of Camille Helminski. She is the co-director and co-founder of the Threshold Society. I would encourage you to visit the website sufism.org. I have on a number of times and found it exceptionally useful. The Threshold Society is a non-profit organization which was established in 1988 that is rooted within the traditions of Sufism and dedicated to facilitating the direct personal experience of the divine. She has been working with the Mawlavi tradition of Sufism for over 35 years and has helped to increase awareness of the contribution of women to the spiritual part of Islam with her book, Women of Sufism, A Hidden Treasure. I have a copy of that book and I would encourage each one of you to get a copy. It's a fascinating anthology of the contribution of key women personalities from different parts of the world. She was also the co-founder and co-director of Threshold Books, which helped to bring into English many classic texts of the Sufi tradition and assisted in introducing the traditional whirling ceremony which we heard of this morning by Sheikh Kabir. And this was exposed to some 100,000 people in performing arts centers and universities around the United States. She has co-translated a number of volumes of Sufi literature, including the Sufi classic Awakened Dreams, and also the texts Jewels of Remembrance. These are excerpts of the Mathnavi of Maulana Rumi. She is the first woman to translate a substantial portion of the Quran into English, and that text is entitled The Light of Dawn, Selections from the Quran for Daily Contemplation. She has authored 2 anthologies for the Book Foundation. You could look it up at the website thebook.org, and the anthologies are entitled The Book of Character, Writings on Virtue and Character from Islamic and Other Sources, and The Book of Nature, a source book of spiritual perspectives on nature and the environment. And this is part of a new curriculum for Islamic education. Her most recent publications are Rumi's Son, The Teachings of Shams of Tabriz, and with her husband Kabir, she has authored the well-known Rumi Daybook. As I was saying over Jummah, we tend to think that kids at home, when they see books, they don't read. They prefer their electronic games. And when I introduced my 13-year-old son to Sheikh Kabir, he says, yeah, I know Sheikh Kabir. He has the book called the Rumi Daybook. So I said, oh, that's impressive, they're reading. Camille Helminski is also a mentor of the Snow Mass Interspiritual Dialogue, which is established by Father Thomas Keating, and has also been designated as one of the spiritual leaders of a group known as WISE, Women's Initiative in Islamic Spirituality and Equality. That's a nice acronym. She and Kabir have been married for 36 years and have 3 dear children and 1 dear grandchild. They continue to seek to share the beauties of the Sufi tradition with all their hearts who are drawn to truth. Sister Camille, the floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It's such a joy to be here with all of your hearts that have been drawn into this celebration of life. Truly, what a celebration. It's unfolding. What a beautiful breeze of the heart we just experienced, and the beautiful sharings this morning also. And I'd like to just give a moment too to just say thank you to these flowers for visiting us, for the trees that are sheltering us, for the sky above, for this earth upon which we are resting, and the breeze that keeps passing through, that breath of Allah that, as Kabir was describing in the ceremony, that is breathed into all of creation and it unfolds. So just to refresh our ears a little more, I'd like to invite Selçuk in to just share a little bit of the Ney with us as we share a poem of Mevlana's to begin. We give thanks for this breath, this breath that breathes us every moment, that has brought us here with the dear love of such friends, all the hands that have worked so hard and hearts that have brought us together, and the breath of this reed. It's also the metaphor of the human being. Mevlana begins his whole Masnavi with listen to the reed and the tale it tells. There's that sense of this reed flute. It can only be made when it's grown in the reed bed with sufficient sun and rain to make these sections in the way the music can be held. And then to open it, the Ney maker pierces it with a red-hot iron. And only then is it opened for the breath to play the music, and the notes can be opened. It is love that makes people happy. It is love that fills happiness with joy. It is love that birthed me, not my mother. 100 blessings and praises to that mother. Your fragrance is always with me. Your face never leaves my sight. Day and night, I've been longing for you. My life is spent, but my desire for you remains. Oh heart, throw your clothes down upon the way and cover your face with the shirt of Joseph. You're just a small fish. You can't live without water. Don't even think about it. Just throw yourself into this stream. We're so grateful for all the beauties of this vast tradition, through all the brothers, sisterhoods, all the beautiful fragrances that come to us. We discovered in our tradition there's a beautiful word, gurushmek, which means seeing with. Whether it's another being, as in the ceremony that Kabir was speaking about, there's this continual bowing that happens when we meet each other. To look even beyond the personal eyes to the space of the third eye, really, of that meeting of the divine within each other and the honoring of that. And even in our tradition, if one were in a more traditional time, when one takes a glass of water, one would pause and just see the water and be seen by the water and just honor that presence. So when we can take those moments of pause in our lives, that breath can be restored and we can remember. And as it's said, in Mevlana, one of the popular translations is, there are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Or as it is conveyed through the Quran, bow, prostrate in worship, and draw near. Wasjud waqtarib. This one was asked to share a bit of her journey, and I was fortunate to grow up in a family that was an interfaith family. My father was Baptist and my mother was Episcopalian in Florida. And it's wonderful to be again in the land of mangoes. because my father was a botanical artist and helped to introduce the American people to the mango and the avocado and many of the tropical fruits through his paintings. So we grew up with that sense of the wonder of nature and creation, and this sense, even before I knew the term of Guru Shmek, of that meeting of the divine within everything around us. But also, as you know, we each experience in our lives. You know, we began our sharing a few days ago with one of the poems of Mevlana, and the line that speaks about how, you know, there is no roof that does not become a floor one day. You know, and sometimes even the floor gives way. You know, sometimes there are earthquakes in our lives, and even after I begun this journey of spirit and you know, discovered various paths to the One, spent some time within Buddhism, and the Kabir and I had met in a spiritual circle. I had been away at school, and a moment came with word that both my parents had died suddenly in an accident. And that for me was that first moment of that floor giving way. And it's such a mystery, you know, how that happens. And yet, you know, as it's said in the Quran, with every difficulty comes ease. You know, and how one discovers that as one moves through one's life, the beauty of that, and this way in which the divine is always calling us, you know, always speaking to us through each other, through these beautiful traditions that have been revealed, you know, through the light that comes and touches our skin, awakens our eyes. You know, I remember moments walking with my father when it was raining, even as the downpour we had yesterday, and we would walk out and he would pick, there was something called an elephant ear leaf, you know, these huge leaves, and sometimes people would use them as umbrellas, you know, and we watched as the rain came down that leaf and that beautiful silvery drop that's collected as the water comes to the center. You know, so many gifts were given, and we're given these eyes to see, you know, these hearts to experience. And it's such a beautiful, you know, saying, this Hadith Qudsi, that, you know, when my faithful servant draws near to me through his or her voluntary devotions, then I love him or her, you know, with an even greater love. And I become the eyes with which he or she sees, the ears with which he or she hears, the hand with which he or she touches, the foot with which he or she walks. And we keep bowing, and are drawn near. You know, sometimes we think about the bust, about the expansion and the joy and how wonderful that is and how beautiful that is in that celebration. And yet also that qabd, that constriction, is a deep beauty, because it is also a drawing close into that intimacy, into that enfoldment of that love that is that which has birthed us, even more than the one who has stood to hold us as our parents in this world. And Mevlana has a beautiful passage where he encourages us to keep focusing on the light. He says, the mention of Moses has tied up your thoughts. You think these are stories that happened a long time ago. But talking about Moses is a mask. The light of Moses is your real concern. Moses and Pharaoh are both within you. You need to look for these two adversaries within yourself. The birthing from Moses continues until the resurrection. Even though each lamp may seem different, the light is the same. This clay lamp and its wick may appear to be different, but the light isn't. It comes from beyond. If you keep looking at the glass of the lamp, you'll be lost, because it's from the glass that multiplicity is seen. Keep focusing on the light, so you'll be free of duality and the multiplicity of colors of this limited body. Kabir spoke about, the beautiful passages of the ceremony of whirling and how we're continually making that passage between the seen and the unseen. We have these forms in this world, and yet that spirit is continually blowing through, and we're passing back into the unseen, into that presence, being drawn near, and then poured out again into this beautiful creation and the witnessing of all these colors and beautiful diversity. And yet that light is holding us as one. And we've been held within this beautiful tradition of Mevlana, and one of the beauties that has come to us is a beautiful prayer of the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, that Mevlana used to recite every morning, which is the prayer of light of the Prophet. And I'd like to just share that with you in this moment. And perhaps as it's recited, we could just take a moment with the breath and be with that light that is just pouring through us, enveloping us, pouring us into being and taking us into that non-existence continually, breath by breath. La ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. O God, grant me light in my heart, light in my grave, light in front of me, light behind me, light to my right, light to my left, light above me, light below me, light in my ears, light in my eyes, light on my skin, light in my hair, light within my flesh, light in my blood, light in my bones. O God, increase my light everywhere. O God, grant me light in my heart, light on my tongue, light in my eyes, light in my ears, light to my right, light to my left, light above me, light below me, light in front of me, light behind me, and light within myself increase my light. Allahumma jalli nuran fi qalbi, wa nuran fi kabri, wa nuran bayna yadayya, wa nuran min khalfi, wa nuran an yamini, wa nuran an shimali, wa nuran min fawqi, wa nuran min tahti, wa nuran fi sahmi, wa nuran fi basari, wa nuran fi shahri, wa nuran fi bashari, wa nuran fi lahmi, wa nuran fi dami, wa nuran fi idami. Allahumma dim li nuran wa jalni nura. Allahumma jal fi qalbi nuran, wa fi lisani nuran, wa fi basari nuran, wa fi sami nuran, wa an yamini nuran, wa an yasari nuran, wa min fawqi nuran, wa min tahti nuran, wa min amami nuran, wa min khalfi nuran, wa jalli fi nafsi nuran, wa adim li nura. We have such a blessing in our beloved Prophet and all the prophets and saints who have helped to bring more fully the visibility of this light for our hearts. That these hearts that have the capacity to be such mirrors can mirror the infinite. And the Prophet also was an orphan. And in a sense, everyone in his existence has been orphaned. And yet, when we are called by that voice of love, we remember that actually we have never been alone. That love is always with us. So I'd like to close with a beautiful passage from the Quran, Surah Duha. And first, just to remind us of the English, for those of us who are still coming to familiarity with the Arabic. In the name of God, the infinitely compassionate and infinitely merciful, by the glorious morning light, and by the night when it is still, your sustainer has not forgotten you, nor is he displeased with you. For truly, that which comes after will be better for you than that which came before. And soon your sustainer will give you that with which you will be content. Didn't he find you an orphan and shelter you? Didn't he find you wandering and guide you? Didn't he find you in need and satisfy your need? So do not be harsh with orphans, nor turn away someone who asks something of you, but continually declare the blessings of your sustainer. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa-duha wal-layli iza saja ma wadaka rabbuka